If you had asked me 3 months ago whether I thought I was a safe driver or a lucky driver, I would have told you I was a safe driver.
Debbie Knight of Encana hasn't had a speeding ticket in 20 years, and she's never caused an accident. By that measure, she's clearly a safe driver. But Debbie concluded she's a lucky driver after she put one of these devices on her car. It's called a Rover, and it's produced by a Denver-based company called Cartasite.
Every vehicle manufactured since 1996 is equipped with an onboard diagnostic port where this device plugs directly in.
My vices are hard braking and rapid starts, and I never considered how the hard braking and rapid starts was putting myself at risk for an accident.
Encana is a Denver-based oil and gas company, and they have 600 Rovers on their fleet vehicles. Some of their employees have Rovers on their cars as well. Byron Gale is head of the department that runs the driver safety program and is the chief advocate within the company for the use of the Rover. Colonel Mark Trostel is former head of the Colorado State Patrol, and he's in charge of running the driver safety program for the company.
You know, I became a better driver the second I plugged this in, and it's amazing how that works. But when you realize that your driving performance is now being documented, you set goals for yourself.
I'm a fast driver. So for me personally, this has been instrumental in helping me maintain my speeding or reducing my speeding. And as a father, if I had a teenager driving today, mine are all grown, I would have this in every one of their vehicles.
The Rover measures how well you're driving, and you get a weekly scorecard by email. By all accounts, the Rover turns lucky drivers into safe drivers and good drivers into better ones.
This is an example of the weekly scorecard that each driver receives from Cartasite. I, along with every driver within Encana that has a device installed in their vehicle, receives a weekly scorecard Monday morning every week that is simple to access. It's sent by Cartasite to everybody's individual email account.
The idea that led to the creation of the Rover stems from a conversation 3 years ago between Denver Mayor John Hickenlooper and David Armitage, who is CEO of Cartasite, the company that makes the Rover.
I was having beer with Mayor one evening, who's been an oil and gas geologist, been a friend for a long time. And the mayor and I were talking about this concept. He said, I'll betcha people who drive more conservatively don't burn as much fuel. I said, gosh, that's such an interesting idea, but I don't frankly think the hardware exists to do this. And honestly, even if we did know how to measure human behavior, I'm not sure we could influence it. Measuring human behavior is one thing. Impacting it and changing it is quite another. So he said to me that evening, well, if you can find somebody to sponsor the project, let's run a science project here in Denver and see if one, we can quantify, and two, we can influence human driving behavior. So that was the genesis behind a program we called Driving Change, which ran for a year, and it was all about measuring and monitoring the city and county fleet. Encana, big natural gas company that most people have never even heard of, was generous and sponsored it to the tune of $500,000 that they put behind this science project. We started getting reports back from workers in the city and county telling us very interesting stories about healthy competition between workers. They would start bragging about the numbers they were getting on their scorecards.
As you've probably guessed by now, the Denver program was a huge success, and now several companies, including Encana, are using the Rover to improve driver safety and also to save money on fuel.
We've worked with a number of commercial fleets and corporate fleets, and I can tell you that it is, we typically see crash rates reduced by upwards of 25% in most commercial fleets as a direct result of this program. We find that on average, a commercial vehicle will save over a gallon of gasoline per day by using this technology. And it just comes through greater awareness on the part of the driver that the decisions that they make when they're behind the wheel of a car have a profound impact on fuel economy and on their safety.
The Rover measures several types of behavior that translate into dangerous driving: speeding, rapid starts, hard braking.
We all speed at some point, right? People who habitually speed are at much greater risk of crash than people who don't. Since we all speed, just capturing a speeding event, it's not like handing out a ticket and saying, hey, you were speeding, right? We don't care about that. What we care about is identifying patterns of behavior which may be precursors and indicators of risk. Hard braking is usually caused by one of two things: following too close or being distracted. It's usually one of those two things. I mean, I'm not talking about slamming on the brakes because a dog runs in front of the car. I'm talking about little all the time, right? Why are you doing that? You're probably either driving too aggressively, you're probably pushing up against the bumper of the car in front of you, or you're on your cell phone gabbing away, your mind's in a million different places, and you're catching yourself. And you're gonna catch yourself 1,000 times before it catches up with you. My scorecard when I first started doing this program was coming in at about 83, 84. Not bad, kind of a B minus. And as I became more aware of not only the number, but all the details. All right, David, you're generating, 6 hard braking events on average every morning on 6th Avenue during the morning rush hour commute. I started thinking about, why am I generating all these little tiny hard braking events? This is not like locking up the anti-lock braking system. This is subtle, just catching yourself. And I realized, oh, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm talking on the cell phone every morning. Actually, it's not a great idea to be talking on our cell phones while we're driving our cars. Most of us still do it. I cut it out. I stopped doing it. My score went up to 94. And at the same time, my fuel economy went up by 15 to 18%. There's been a ton of research that suggests that the human brain is not very good at multitasking. Yeah, we can walk down the street and chew gum at the same time. But if we attempt to do 2 cognitively demanding tasks simultaneously, we're not very good at it. Our brains don't truly multitask. They task switch. And the more cognitively demanding, the more emotional engagement we have invested in a particular task, the more impact it has on other tasks.
Well, it's time for me to be going, so I need to turn off this camera. Otherwise, I'm going to be a distracted driver. See you next time.